Okay, so one by one, we will discuss first of all the importance of ethics. Then we will move towards how to cover the basics of ethics. Then we will move towards the what are the mistakes to avoid. Then towards how many types of questions are being asked by UPSC, how to tackle them individually, and then we will discuss some of the PYQs that have been asked by UPSC in the year 2023. So first of all, why so much of importance to GS4? If we see, there are three papers, optional, GS4 and essay. Please audio off करने से. Yeah. So three papers are always said that these three subjects are decisive because there is huge margin. One can get 300 in optional and one can get 220 also in optional. Same goes with ethics. So in ethics paper, if you see the merit list, the students who have not qualified mains examination and the students who have qualified mains examination, there is a large say of ethics paper in that. Students who could not qualify means they usually get 90 marks, 85 marks, and students who qualify means they have got more than 100 marks. And if you see the marks of top 100 students, they have got even more than 120 marks. So this is the importance of ethics, specifically after 2019, when optional marks have started becoming stagnant and getting more than 270 has become tougher and tougher. Ethics and essay has become even more decisive for everyone. Please, किसी का ऑडियो चालू है, ऑफ कर लें, डिस्टरबेंस आती है बीच में. So this is the prime importance of ethics paper. Now I will start from the basics. If you are a beginner, if you have no experience of ethics paper, then what should be your approach to handle ethics paper? If you see the main syllabus, UPSC has given detailed syllabus in GS 1, 2, 3, 4 in all the GS papers. Unlike prelims, where there is only headings, in mains there is clear cut and detailed syllabus provided by UPSC. So in ethics, if you will see the syllabus, there are lots of keywords that have been given in the GS paper 4. It starts with the very basics, that what is ethics, then move towards values, morality, aptitude, attitude, persuasion. So there are all the keywords. Now, how to cover those keywords? You would have often seen that toppers say that you should use Google and then study all these keywords. But doing Google for all the keywords is something which is very troublesome. So, what should be your approach? Take one source. If you are choosing lexicon, stay with lexicon. If you have chosen read data book of Forum IS, you stick with that. Don't change your sources too frequently. But say, for example, if you are following one source, which is a lexicon, and if you are not able to understand conflict of interest, say, for example, now what to do? Then use Google. Google should not be the primary source, but Google should be used to understand those concepts which you are not able to understand from your source. So this is the very basic. Because uh, the paper which is being asked since the year 2018 is more and more applied in nature. It cannot be dealt with just cramming the definition and just cramming one or two examples. You have to understand the concept. If you have to understand persuasion, you have to also understand the difference between persuasion and social influence. How they differ. One is deliberate, one is not deliberate. So if you will understand these core concepts, then only when there will be a question based on application, you will be able to apply those keywords and concepts. And they will be not forced inclusion of keywords. They will be the subtle inclusion of keywords. And then only you get good marks. So this is the basics. Now, some of the mistakes that I have noted down, and I have seen many of my friends and many of my students repeating the same mistake again and again in ethics paper. The first mistake is having a plethora of resources. Say, for example, this year topper has got 141 in ethics paper, and now she has told that in ethics I was following this source. Now suddenly student will jump to those sources. It's not the source per se which will give you good marks. It's your understanding which will give you good marks. So don't change your sources frequently. Stick to one source, trust your source. Even that source you have not understood completely. So do not uh, go searching for multiple resources. This is the first mistake. Second, it has been advised that one should write theories. When I say theories, there are multiple theories in ethics. It starts from utilitarianism to deontology to ethical egoism. There are lots of concepts, lots of theories, and lots of thinkers named, and you will find hundreds of thinkers in various notes. Now, there are some basic thinkers which one has to read, like Socrates, Plato. When we talk about Indian scholars, Gandhiji, Swami Vivekananda are some of the most important, and they are the one of the darlings of UPSC. They are being repeatedly asked by UPSC. Their quotes are every year. There is one quote of these four thinkers, so that you cannot avoid. For rest of the thinkers, you have a choice. If you relate more with Nelson Mandela, if you relate more with Mother Teresa, if you relate more with Dalai Lama, whatever suits you, whatever is more familiar to you, you can choose that. So you have to choose 10 Western philosophers and 10 Indian philosophers, and their viewpoints should be diverse. When I will choose Mahatma Gandhi, I will choose his seven sins because it is applicable to wide number of questions. You can apply in business, you can apply in environment, you can apply in education, you can apply even in democracy, caste system. This is there is a wide application of seven sins of Gandhiji. Then Gandhiji has talked about ideal state, Ram Rajya. Gandhiji has also talked about the work culture. Gandhiji has also talked about environment. So his not his ideas concentrated on only one area, but his diverse area should be covered. This should be your approach. Then third is that I have seen students collecting examples from some toppers' notes, some toppers' copy, and they are collecting it. They have collected some hundreds of example. So what happens is those examples stay in your notes. They never translate into your answers because first of all, you have not collected them, you have not correlated them with the keywords. Secondly, there is there are some examples which are quoted n number of times by thousands of students. I can give you a good example. Everybody quotes TN session when it is about integrity. Why there is not any other example? Why you cannot quote the founder of Infosys when there was a global slowdown in 2001? He reduced his salary to 1 rupees. There are plethora of examples. If you like, say for example, you like sports, you like football, you like cricket. If you like cricket, there is a very good example of Sachin Ramesh Tendulkar when umpire took a decision that he's not out. He knew that he's out. He walked out. This is a prime example of integrity. Integrity is what? When you know that no one is watching, when you know that no one knows, please put up. Yes. So when no one will you Pankaj, please put off your audio. Yes. There is disturbance from your side. Pankaj, are you listening to me? Please put off your audio. Yes. So when you know that nobody knows, and then also you are doing something correct, that is integrity. So examples can be diverse, examples can be current, examples can be static as well. So it should be your example. If you will quote some good examples, you will gain some half a marks extra. Otherwise, those repeated kind of examples of Kiran Bedi, T.N. Session, Lal Bahadur Shastri, everyone writes that. That will not make a difference. Now, these are things to avoid. There are 4 types of questions mainly. First type of question is pure theory-based question. See 2023 paper, and you can find a straight question from probity. So that is, if you have covered probity, you know probity. If you know integrity, you can answer that. So that is pure theory-based question. The number of questions based on pure theory is becoming lesser and lesser, but you have to cover theory. Second type of question is application of theory. Now I can give you an example I have noted down. This year there was a question on corruption is manifestation of lack of core values in the society. So this is the application of what you have read. Now there is third type of question, that is quotation type of question. There will be a quotation of a famous thinker, and you will have to interpret it in the present context, not in the context of 3000 years back or 2000 years back, but the present context. The pressing problems of the present society should be linked with the quotation of that particular thinker. I will give you one by one example also. I'm just going through the types of question. The fourth type of question is case studies. Case studies are very scoring if you know the game, and very easy. If I will compare it with the theory part of question 130 marks, case studies are pretty easier than compared to those questions, because all the fodder points that you have to write is in front of you, and barely there are 2 parts, sometimes 3 parts. This year there are barely 2 parts, so you don't have to write so much diversely, but you know one case, you have understood it, and now you have to write it. So it is simpler if you know the game. If you don't know the game, if you have no idea about how case studies are written, which type of knowledge is needed for case study, then it will be harder for you. But overall, case studies are much easier than those 13 questions. Students mostly lose their maximum marks in those subjective questions, and specifically quotation question. So one by one, I will discuss the types of question by giving one example and then explaining you. So first type of question is theory-based questions. They have asked about emotional intelligence in the past. Straight away they have asked. They have asked about probity. So how to prepare one individual topic? What are the things that one has to cover in one individual topic? If I have to study ethics, then first is the basic definition of ethics. You will have so much fancy definitions available in the market given by World Bank and World Economic Forum, so many fancy definitions. Learn only those definitions which you can memorize, because there are some 30, 35, 40 keywords. And if you are choosing all the fancy definitions, you will not be able to replicate them in the exam environment. So there is an alternate view as well. I never used to define things. I always used to give quotations. Like if I was asked what is ethics, I used to write as that ethics is knowing the difference between what is right to do and what is your right. See, you may have right to abuse someone, but it is not right. It is not morally correct. So the difference between what you can do and what you should not do is ethics. So it's a very simple, but it is different than what others are writing, because most of your content in your answer will be same. These things will make difference. Now I have covered the definition. Now significance of those keywords. If it is about ethics, then significance of ethics in different areas. It can be social, economic, political, international relations, in one's life. So some 4 or 5 dimensions, the significance or importance of that particular keyword. The third dimension is how to develop that. How to develop that. And what are the methods to develop that? If one has to develop ethics in the society, What are the methods to develop? One is, we all know that uh, APJ Abdul Kalam ji had said that mother is the first teacher of our children. So if you have to inculcate a change, it has to start from the family, then it goes towards the society, nation, and world. He had said that when there is peace in the family, there is order in the society. When there is order in the society, there is prosperity in the nation. When there is prosperity in the nation, there is a global fraternity, global cooperation, and world move towards uh, with the spirit of Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam. You would have heard about Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam in the G20 conference. It was all over the banners put by the government. So this is the basic approach. Now, you will also give some example, not more than two example. If there is a keyword, just two examples. One can be the static kind of example. When I say static, that is a big thinker, big philosopher, something historical like Lord Rama, Chanakya, Mahabharata. It can be Napoleon, it can be Alexander in some circumstances. It can be anyone. It can be any freedom fighter. It can be Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. So it can be even Rabindranath Tagore. So those examples are static. One example should be current. When I say current, there was a COVID wave, and in that COVID wave, there were so many examples of empathy. There were so many examples of leadership. So many leaders came out at that situation of crisis, even in the civil services, even out of the civil services. And one has to note that it is not compulsory to write example of civil servant. The checker is not supposed to know what DM of Madhepura had done. That example should create enough noise. Otherwise, he will not appreciate that. There was an operation which was conducted by a DM in Kerala that was known as Operation Suleimani. So that had created a lot of noise. That had garnered a lot of appreciation across the world. So that was something which can be quoted and which can be appreciated. But if you will write micro examples like during COVID, the DM of Barabanki revived lakes. So this is not something which is examiner is supposed to note. And if he is not appreciating that example, he will not give you good marks. So you have to quote example. This is the method to prepare the theory-based question. You can add diagrams as well. It depends on you if you want to inculcate any diagram or not. Please put up audio. Yeah. Second type of question is application of theory. I will give you an example of corruption is manifestation of lack of core values in the society. Now, what are the core values in the society? When I say core values, a society cannot run if there is no empathy. If there is no empathy, then everyone will work for his or her own betterment. Then there will not be any kind of cooperation. There will not be any kind of reciprocation. And one will think that if I earn so much of money, nothing will happen. Because uh, even if I earn money, it will not make an impact on the country. This is the thinking. If there was a story that all the villagers were asked to give one glass of milk, then all the villagers thought, if I will put one glass of water, what will happen? When that tank came in front of king, he saw that there was only water in the tank. Because everyone thought that my padosi will be giving milk, why I should give milk? So this is the significance of having core values. It can be empathy, it can be compassion, it can be integrity, it can be lack of attitude. There is a famous saying that corruption is due to chalta hai attitude. Even if I become a whistleblower, what will happen? मेरे बोलने से कुछ नहीं होगा. This is a chalta hai attitude. So, how one should answer this question? It can be started from a standard definition. There is a famous quotation of Pope Francis. He said that whatever corruption happens in the world, the cost of the corruption is bear by the downtrodden, the poor section of the society. So everything which you are doing will hit hard the vulnerable section of the society. It can start from this. Or second ARC has said that corruption is the manifestation of lack of accountability and responsibility on the part of the government. This can be also a possible introduction. But remember, whatever you are quoting, you have to give examples, and examples should be precise. It should not be like a story. You are writing a 3-page, a 2-page answer, and you are writing a half a page example. So it will not give a good impact. 4 or 5 dimension you can open, but each dimension you are opening, you should give a good example or substantiate that. When you don't have example, just quote some thinker. Gandhiji will come, Vivekanand will come. So it's not about forceful writing of keywords. In this question, you will write lack of integrity, lack of empathy, lack of attitude. You will write like this, na? You will get out of 10, you will get 2.5 marks or 3 marks, not more than that. You whatever you are writing, you have to substantiate, you have to connect with the scenario of our nation, because we are giving Indian civil services examination. It is not about the what is happening in USA or New Zealand or Netherlands. You can quote 1 or 2 international example as well, but it should be more and more oriented towards Indian society, and all the answers that you are writing should always have a tinge of empathy towards the vulnerable section of the society. It should not be against women. It should not be against scheduled tribes, scheduled caste, minorities, elderly, anything. If you are writing against them, now there will be a huge negative impact on the examiner. So you have to be mindful about that. The third kind of question, which is considered the toughest one, I will give you an example of this year paper. There was a question: the simplest act of kindness are by uh, far more powerful than a thousands bowing in a prayer. You would have seen that people are going to temples, people are doing a lot of ceremonies, but that same person is not fulfilling his duty when he's serving as a policeman or a teacher or any kind of work he is doing. So this quotation, how to write introduction of quotation? There is a there is one way to write that this quotation is true in its entirety, and simply writing what does it mean. This is a very simple way. Second way is to give a counter quotation. Here, counter quotation that I had written is given by Dalai Lama. He said that kindness and empathy are not luxuries, but necessities without which no society can survive. So this is the quotation which I have written in this year paper. This is a counter quotation, and this is a better way, a more matured way to write introduction. Third can be just giving some example. You can give an example that Odisha train example. There was a Odisha train tragedy, and hundreds of people came uh, standing in queue to give their blood. That was an act of kindness more powerful than simply going to mosque, temple, church and worshipping. That was something which was impactful. So you can write this example as well to showcase the importance of this quote. Now, this quote has to be explained in multiple ways. It can be explained at an individual level. What does kindness means to an individual? One does so much of mistakes, so much of error in his or her own life. When we do an activity in a day, we are not satisfied with our effort. When we give our mains exam, we are not satisfied with our efforts. So one has to be kind to his or her own mistake. If you are kind towards you, you will be more courageous to take further action. You will learn from your mistakes. And there was a quotation of Socrates. He had said that an unexamined life is not worth living. That is simply, the meaning is same. Second, you can explain this quotation at societal level or national level. If there is kindness, then all the problems like hunger, poverty, caste and class divide, regionalism, communalism, if there is kindness, all these things can be resolved. How it can be resolved, you can give example for the same. Third, you can also showcase this quotation at international level. If you're lacking any dimension, you can include any dimension from pestle. But it should not necessarily always involve pestle, like you are writing political, economical, social, and you don't have to write these subheadings. It should be subtle. Examiner should not know that you are trying to find multiple dimension by using this approach. It should be subtle, and it should be like you are exploring this quotation through various lenses. This is the method to solve or answer any quotation. And there is one more type of question which I have not mentioned earlier, is the a particular philosopher or a particular thinker is being asked. There was a question of on Buddha in the year 2020, that what are the teachings of Buddha which are most relevant for you. This year there was question on Guru Nanak. There can be another question in the future. You have to simply know that even if you know 2 or 3 teachings, you have to connect it with the pressing problems. Like Buddha had said that there should be right knowledge. And in the present times, there is menace of hate speech, fake news, all these kinds of infodemic, the problem of hyper information and false information causing disintegrity in the society can be solved with right information. So this is connecting the thoughts of Buddha with the pressing problems. The more you will connect with the current scenario, the more marks you will get. The final type of question is case studies. You have to understand it, that there is no theory for case studies. Nothing you can, like you can read one book and you can understand that what are case studies. Case studies are application of, first of all, whatever you have read in the theory part, the examples that you have noted down, the knowledge of law and constitution. Each and every case study which is being asked, there is something somewhere or another, there is some law, legal angle involved in that. Thirdly, your knowledge of social issue. There are a lot of questions being asked about patriarchy, gender imbalance in workplace. There are sometimes question on caste or tribe. So your knowledge of social issue will also help. These 3 are the basic knowledge bank that will help you. Now, how to prepare case studies? You have to understand the template of how to write case studies. And to understand those templates, the first resource is Topper's copy. Copy is written by toppers, specifically by toppers like Shruti Sharma, Vishakha Yadav, Anudeep sir. So all these answers written by the toppers, you can understand the basic templates, how to write. Then there is also one book which you can refer if you want. It is not compulsory at all, and not all the answers are up to the mark, even if it is written by one of the selected candidate, Mudit Jain sir. But you can refer it selectively. Some answers are good. Decode Ethics book. That is also one source. Or if you don't have anything, you can simply read the model answers of any test series. It can be Forum IS, Lukman IS, or Vision, anything. But you have to read quality case studies, some 25 to 26 case studies, diverse case studies. You have to read, you have to understand how they are written, what is the basic template, what is the style to write case study, how they are writing ethical issues, how they are writing stakeholders, when they are writing stakeholders, when they are not writing stakeholders, how they are giving options, how they are giving solutions, and if they are giving solution, what are the justification they are giving. So you have to understand the basic template. When you will read these good ethical case studies written by toppers, you will identify there are mainly 3 or 4 types of case studies being asked by UPSC regularly. One is on environmental degradation versus the development. Second is about gender inequality. It can be at workplace, it can be at village level, it can be at any level. Thirdly, it is about civil services. In civil services, they mainly ask about a conflict of interest. It can be due to the political pressure. It can be due to involvement of one of the relatives, or it can be due to criminal, political, civil services nexus. All these can be the case. Fourth is some of the basic case studies that they give. It involves either a worker or a manager or someone working at a very lower level and wants to challenge the higher level authority. So, what he can do? This is one case study which is asked every year. And when you know that these are the basic types of case studies, you can have some basic preparation for them. If there will be question on gender inequality, I will write these keywords. I will write these ethical issues. I will write the article of Indian Constitution, Article 14, right to equality. I will write Article 39C that talks about the parity in wages. I will talk about Article 42 or 41. So all these talks about like maternity benefit or right to work. All these articles or constitutional angle I will write when there will be something about gender inequality according to the demand of question. I will also write about the attitude, because whatever is developing in the society about women is being developed through the stakeholders of the society, whether it is media, whether it is education, whether it is family, whether it is what you observe when you go out, and all these develop an attitude. So attitude will come in picture here. Then if there are three stakeholders, all three stakeholders will have some issue. There will be some ethical issue involved with all the stakeholders. You can simply write two points for them. There will be 6 points, 2, 3 common points. There will be a template. There will be 8, 9 ethical issues, and you will get very good marks in ethical issues. So this is the method through which you will have some predetermined points, and it will help you to finish the paper. Otherwise, what happens is 3 to 4 questions you will have to leave in ethics paper, and your marks will decrease. Also, best practices that we one read in GS3, they are also helpful here. Like if you have read about financial inclusion and you have read about the models of Sikkim or models of Manipur, there are involvement of self-help groups, and through self-help groups they are trying to achieve financial inclusion. So this is something which you can write in your case study when it talks about some of the vulnerable section of the society, and now you have to rehabilitate them. So this financial inclusion wala point and the best practice you can quote. So case study is not only the application of knowledge that you have gained in ethics, but it is also about your collective knowledge that you have gained in GS2, GS3, GS1. Now remember, even if case study is very general, it is more GS kind of case study, always write something philosophical in introduction or in conclusion. Something should be there. Or if you have chosen a step, try to write that this step will be in accordance with the theory of deontology given by Immanuel Kant, or the maxim given by Immanuel Kant. He says na ki, if you are doing an action and if it cannot become a law, it is not moral. Say for example, if you are a speeding car, you are over speeding car, and all the people are over speeding at the road, then what will happen? There will be complete chaos. There will be thousands of accidents. When it cannot become a norm, it is not moral. So this is something which you can write. Now, inclusion of philosophers or thinker in introduction or conclusion, even if it is complete GS kind of case study, it happens that your points will be not having more of ethical keywords or ethical theories. Then by including in introduction and conclusion, you will gain 1 marks, 1.5 marks extra than others. And in 6 case studies, if you gain 1 and 1.5 marks extra, it will be some 9 or 10 marks, and it will create a huge difference. So this is the like complete overview about ethics. Now, a session cannot become wholesome without taking your doubts